Messing around.
That's fine. Hello, I'm host Eric, host of Talking with Famous People, and today's episode one is going to be about the what I believe is important and positive impact of people watching themselves on video. And the reason it came up as a topic here is because a recent visitor on the show, Teacup Noir, is back, and we're happy
Hey.
to have her back again. And she mentioned that she had watched the video that we made before and had some thoughts about how she presented that came up as she watched that video. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Well, like I think one of the things I said on the sidebar is totally important. I said that for an ENFJ, hell equals like not being able to see people's faces or not being able to like read their emotions or something or hear them. And so, it's an audio conversation, and it's so weird to hear your own self just recorded back to you, and there's like a flow of conversation, everything. So I'm taking all that in, and I appreciated it so much. You guys totally gave me like an hour of conversation. I felt like I was in a counseling session, like let me hear all my other unused faculties lined up in a stack, and then we'll just go through them. I was like, oh my gosh. But it's definitely like a cool exhibitionist experience for me. But I just think that I don't know. There's a lot. People said a lot of things about like being perception. Like you're managing perceptions right now, and it's like, well, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know. I'm not usually. I pride myself on trying to be like a genuine person. Obviously, I like try to learn about people.
You know what I'm hearing from you, Teacup Noir? I'm hearing that you've internalized some of the lies. There's nothing wrong.
What lies?
There's nothing at all wrong, or nor do you need to backpedal away from the fact that that like, oh, well, it's kind of an exhibitionist thing. It's not like a guilty pleasure to go and be able to express yourself freely and openly and comfortably and confidently securing yourself and your opinions.
I know, but putting yourself on the internet, that's like you're out there in the interwebs. Anybody can see you, and it's like a thing. I don't know. I don't even know who Bo Joseph Philippic is. Hi.
I'm an INTP.
Cool.
Okay, well, I guess the thesis I take away from what you were saying, which is not what you were saying, but is the thesis I take away from it, is the reason people have this experience of finding it notable when they see themselves and they notice things that they didn't maybe think about because they don't normally watch themselves on video.
AKA, they feel like a jackass.
I hope not. But my takeaway from that is, wow, everybody is so fucking hard on themselves. It's ridiculous. And the reason is because there's nothing, it's not adequately normalized. I think for those people who've been here a lot of times, they start to feel increasingly like, oh, it's not, they make note of it, but they become more okay with their failures, their natural ups and downs of things.
So true. You know what? I'll just focus on the positives that I took away from it, which was, first of all, Eric, I think that you're super iconic with your little cigarettes and your skinny wrist. Yeah, like that right there. I love it. It's just great. And I just think I don't know. I felt like I was just getting this privilege of talking to all these really smart individuals who take the time to think about people this much. It's just so cool. And
well, let me hit you right back here with a little bit of likewise, Teacup Noir, because you know what's nice? Having somebody who is as attentive to FE shit as you are. You're always making sure like you make a point of saying things that that are going to make me feel like acknowledged or something. They're going to feel good, right?
Oh yes.
I appreciate having an FE heavy person in here because normally with a bunch of INTPs, INTJs, it's me and the INFJs who are quiet, boisterous.
You are not quiet.
Compared to you, not me.
Compared
not
to me,
them,
in the last
them.
20 minutes, maybe, but not. No.
Listen, we extroverts need to stick together. There's no virtue in being quiet, all right? Remember, we're not too noisy. They're too shy. Okay?
That's true. So we should just gang up on them and beat them with our knee or
Yes,
something?
right.
Or our feet? Yeah.
Well, I mean,
All right. Wait, you gotta teach me how to debate. That's what I want you to teach me. How to debate. I want to be like a master debater, ENFJ wacko that you don't see coming.
Step one, try this. Nuh-uh. Works every time. When somebody says something, you just go, nuh-uh.
So that's
Now,
seated out.
You were talking about the INFJs being quiet. Hello. When I was going back and watching some of the videos I was in, and I kept getting the feeling that I was talking way too much.
That's how quiet you are. That's how quiet you are. What was the comment I left for you, Ken? I was like, hey, Ken, that was cool. You got good instincts. Next time, I'll do a better job of giving you more space so that it's a little bit more balanced and you have a little more room to work. Because when I listened to it, I knew that I get it. I get the idea of it now better. It's something I used to be mad at Jon Stewart for all the time. I'd watch Jon Stewart and I'd think, you need to let the guy you're interviewing have more space. But I also now understand what Jon Stewart was doing. He was making the safe choice. He actually was making the safe choice. It annoyed me as an ENTP watching it, and I didn't understand this at the time, but the reason is because I got the fact that that wasn't quite right, but I didn't get the fact that it wasn't quite right for a good reason. So like he would rather talk too much himself, confident that he's going to say something compelling that'll make the audience laugh or something in an interview if he doesn't trust the other person. But with Jon Stewart, he also does it when he does trust them. That's the problem. Sometimes he's better than others, just like me, another ENTP, right? Interviewing is tough for us, but the point is, he does what I did to you, Ken, which is when you do have an opportunity to get somebody to interview that ought to be given more space, and you don't give them enough space, it's really frustrating afterwards for me, right? Because it's frustrating for me, for sure. I'm trying to get better at this. So when I see fuck-ups like that, I go, ugh. But I don't get tied into it because it's like, whatever, I'll make another video. I'll try better. I'll try again.
Don't worry about it.
Does anybody else here have the experience or want to share anything about an experience of watching or hearing themselves either here or through some other thing and having that impact their behavior going forward, whether recently or 5 years ago or any referent that is relevant?
Everyone has a problem with the fact that the camera adds 10 pounds. I mean, it's so true.
I've heard that. I've heard that, but Bo.
Huh?
Yeah, that makes a big awful noise every time you do it. Yeah, it's like
I know, but why is Bo off the hook? Because you're just like on cam, so I feel like you want to chat.
Hold on. J-Matt just posted in chat, and he needs to get FE attacked by Teacup. Need to pounce on that and make him feel better.
Oh, what did he say in the chat?
He said, I can safely say that I am a smug bastard that deserves to be punched.
Oh, don't feel that way, sugar. What's wrong?
Yeah, like that, right. No, it's okay.
Oh, no. I would never do that.
J-Matt, you put it wrong. It's don't tell me how I feel.
Oh, there. Oh, wow.
That's better
Eric,
than to feel. Isn't that a lot stronger? It's a lot stronger argument, right?
Mm-hmm. He keeps saying that. Oh, that's funny. I tried to say that to you while you were talking, but I don't know if you picked up on it.
I missed it. There are limitations because the mic does this cut out one person thing. If they're talking at the same time, it makes certain kinds of humor tricky. It does.
Wow. I think you should only use your own sense of humor, because if you use it wrong, then you'll feel stupid.
Humor failures are among the most painful for me. For sure. I specifically say that comedy is the most brave thing a person can do. If you're doing like stand-up comedy or something, because
Yeah, I agree with
I'm
that.
I am not shy, but I'm a little scared of attempting stand-up comedy. It seems really hard.
I think you should be. I think you'd be okay. I think you would have to have like a monologue set up of like something that was funny, which is easy for you. What about that video with the hoodie and the kitty cat? I was like, what is that video? That was so cute, but I didn't comment on it because it was gonna be too much. Probably just like random feed comments. So I was like, no, don't do that. I've been actually lurking on what is it, famous channel, but only the last couple of days, and then I'm starting everything up tomorrow, so it's going to be bye birdie. But I don't know,
Well,
internet.
here's the good news. You are in an FE expectation free zone. Okay? So you are free, completely free to come and go as you please without concerning yourself about my feelings at all. Now, that's what I'm doing for you in exchange for you bringing such nice FE stuff. The good news is I have zero expectations.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, because a lot of the thinking types do. Um, but I usually end up like warming up to teas. So
You know, ENTPs are known as the squishiest of the T's. We're a little
really,
bit softer in our feelings than most of the other T's, as it's usually described, because I think we've got our FE higher than INTP, and the other ones have FI. You know, so we're going to come across as
I
a little
totally
squishier.
disagree though, because like I said, my mom's an INTP, and I have studied that animal very much. Not that she's an animal, but just the whole INTP thing, trying to understand her. And my teacher's an INTP, and I think someone else I know is an INTP, and it's just like they're so vulnerable. Like that's
Yeah,
the thing.
INTPs.
Well, I shouldn't
INTPs
say
have.
that. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Are you talking? INTPs have more childlike emotions.
Yes,
You
that's
think
so
so?
true.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely can tell with me.
ENTPs are described as most childlike of the types by most places.
I'm.
Nuh-uh. I think the NFP is, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've read lots of descriptions of ENTP that say childlike. And
Aw.
the reason I think it says that is because when you don't know how you feel about things, then you can you can say and think some things that other people go like I haven't made that kind of mistake since I was 5 years old. You said something like where you go, you learn like, oh, I'll have to do this awful thing once a day for 3 months. Oh, whatever. I'm sure I'll be fine with it. You don't. It's like you don't because you have no idea what you're gonna feel about it or how that plays or anything. You know.
I
And
think
so
it's because I think it's because INTs intuit their emotions more than anything. We don't really like rationalize. We rationalize over it. So when we actually do have emotions, it's very raw and like it's hard to describe. It's just very un unfiltered. Like it's not like our rationality is. Like we can be like we're like very sophisticated children. Like
Yeah.
we may have all these ideas and rationality that we store up, but when we try to unlock our emotional reserves, it becomes a whole new world. Like it just completely unchanneled.
it becomes a world covered in your uncorked emotional reserves. Just gooey emotional reserve on everything. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's
Um,
so palpable, very much palpable. It's like, whoa,
uh,
noticeable. I think that's why I'm drawn to the INTPs.
okay, but here's the thing about emotional stuff, right? INTPs have FI in the eighth. And ENTPs have FI in the 7th. And ENTPs have SE in the 8th. And INTPs have SE in the 7th. Now this means that those two types play out very, very differently in regards to their own feelings and in regards to their own ability to take action. So it takes a while for ENTP to straighten it out in their head, how to make this thing fit together. But once ENTP does figure that out, the SE stuff is not really a problem. The problem is making sure that the stuff you do has some actual meaningful impact, because you might want to do a bunch of first 10% of an idea things. And have a whole line of 10% done things. Okay, well, great. You've not had a problem with SE. The problem there is not SE. You have been able to go ahead and do shit and proceed. You have learned to get past the neurotic thing that says, well, I can't even start this because I know I'm going to quit and then I'm going to feel bad. You accept that 10% of something unfinished is still better than 0. So you're there, but you haven't yet figured out a way to make it all go into usefulness. Whereas with FI, in contrast, it's not this sort of like friendly but unsure relationship that we have with SE, ENTPs. With FI, it's quite different. And I was reflecting in the car, I think it has to do with the fact that there are perspectives of preference that ought to be adjudicated one way. There are perspectives of assertion regarding the nature of things, which ought to be adjudicated in another way. And then there are assertions regarding what the nation ought to do, or the people ought to do, or this guy ought to do, or whatever, normative claims and stuff, and they ought to be adjudicated a third way. And people mush those things together. And they don't get the fact that, some things it's fine to have we just disagree because we have different preferences. That's fine when you're talking about that kind of thing. It's not fine when you're talking about, well, it's fine that we disagree that this is my hand. No, it's not fine we disagree about it because it's descriptive. It's not preferential. So anyway, that's what I think about that.
Did you say adjudicated?
Yeah. It's a word I use intermittently, more than I'd like to, because I'm very aware of how often I use words, especially big words like that you'll hear it if you use it too often. But the only really two words that are good for my purpose are adjudicated, concluded, or judged it conclusively, which is what adjudicated means.
Because it's like directly to the point or something.
Well, it's saying, how did we decide this, right? And I think that's a concept I talk about a lot. So the other word I use is metric to talk about that stuff. Like, what's the
This is so cool.
The metric
Keep
by
going.
which we decided it, right? Those are core issues to me that are more important than what we decided. Even if I disagree with the decision, I prefer to lose for the right reasons than win for the wrong reasons.
Well, how are you losing?
Well, see, that's the thing is, I could imagine a scenario in which I would lose in the short term a battle over a certain point.
A battle of wills, or like an argument, or is that the same?
No, a decision, an actual actions being decided upon. We're going to go to Jack in the Box or to McDonald's, and we're not to both. Which one are we going to go to? I want to go to McDonald's. They want to go to Jack in the Box, whatever. If the issue's something like that, it doesn't really matter, right? It's a preference thing. And so if I lose that, well, somebody's preference was not going to get met. I might, depending on the nature of the relationship, as most people would, you might factor in something like, every single time we want to go out to eat, Bob, you say you're going to get your way, and I never get my way, and I'm sick of it. It's time for us to eat where I want to eat one of these times. You might go that route. Depends. See, it depends a lot on what's going on.
You mean like always or never kind of arguments? Like
what I'm saying is, for preferences, we know that they're binary. That one person gets their way and one person doesn't. Right?
Yeah. I follow you on that. Yep.
Okay. So then, if on the other hand, it's a politics thing, public policy thing, right? And the person is saying the United States ought to stay out of Ukraine and Russia's business, or stay out of China and Taiwan's business. The United States has no business taking a stance on either side of this issue. So, or more openly, they might argue even in favor of, let's support Russia in this, let's support China in this, but much less likely to do that. A Westerner is much more likely to say, this isn't our business, let's stay out of it, we shouldn't be involved in this at all. My response to something like those kind of arguments are, okay, have you checked to make sure this position you're saying is consistent with equivalent situations in which you've also stated positions? So, I can't say in one breath, the U.S. should go over there and send troops to help Israel shut down fucking Gaza Strip with those awful Palestinians. And then in the next breath say, the U.S. has no business interfering in other countries' affairs. We should not be involved in Ukraine and Russia. Because you've contradicted yourself, even though you didn't contradict yourself directly. You've chosen to apply your warrant, your reason for why it's okay for us to go get involved or not get involved. You've applied it selectively.
It sounds like you make me think of my mom, who is an INTP, and she's a computer analyst, and so she tries to apply that to problem solving, and my dad's an ENFJ, so if you just think about that for a minute, it's like my dad is like, judge, like, boom, like, do this, and then my mom is like, but you haven't considered these options, and then I grew up a lot with that kind of stuff, and I asked my mom a lot of questions about that because I am a J, so even just like tomorrow's her birthday and I'm going to be taking her out, and she said she wanted a vegetarian meal, so like I had to decide between like all these options, so I gave her 10 links to think through, and she's going to probably only pick like one of the first, but she has to have all those options, otherwise she thinks that I haven't, I don't know if that's the same though. I know I keep comparing INTP to ENFP.
It's absolutely relevant and very similar. Because what you're talking about, you're saying, that you're going to eat at one restaurant.
Yeah.
You know that what she really wants, though, is an experience that's metaphysical. She might want to go to, say, Bob's Big Boy, right? But she doesn't want you to take her to Bob's Big Boy. Because that physical aspect of what she wants is weighted less than the metaphysical aspect of what she wants, which is the means by which the goal is attained. So she's got an end she wants, a certain restaurant maybe, let's just pretend, and then she's also got a means she wants. She wants to choose from a set of options.
So like the idea of going out and having a good dinner as opposed to like where it actually is? Is that what you mean?
Yes, but you can imagine another personality type approaching it oppositely, like my ex-wife. She wanted the means as an end. In other words, she said she wanted to have full control over that thing. She didn't want me involved in it at all, except to be cooperative about it, basically. And I'd say, okay, well, what do you want to do? What do you want me to do for you on your birthday? And she'd say, okay, well, let's go here and let's do this. And then I'd say, do you want me to buy you a present? And she'd say, no, I'm buying my own present.
Oh, you should. Oh, no, I know. Okay, so my dad is an ESFJ, the hardest person in the world to buy presents for. So hard to take him to a restaurant, so hard to please him because he's a very giving person and a very, like a servant kind of like. Well, he was an administrator. He's a college professor, but he's like serves people like, and it's like a ESFJ thing. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, like it is so upsetting to all of us, like to do every single one of us. Like he also has a family of girls, and we just have a hard time trying to like buy him presents. And my mom, being an INTP, will ask him like, well, do you want this or do you want that? He gets offended if you ask him, because he wants you to already know, but then he doesn't want to be direct.
Actually, my ex-wife, she was so hardcore ESFJ that
I don't know if it's all the way ESFJ, but I don't know.
That is not what I'm talking about in that sense. Like, she would say to me, sometimes she'd say, like, okay, well, go to JCPenney's now and get me this thing and bring it back, and then I'll wrap it because you're going to wrap. I don't like the way you wrap it. It was. It was not.
Aw.
It was not. She's so selfless. It was. She wanted it to play out right as a sort of life event thing. She's got going on with her whole FESI thing, right? She's creating a scrapbook of her life as she's living it,
Yeah.
and I respect that. I'm trying to do that myself now. And she always did it all along, and I would be all fighty about it. Like, stop taking pictures, Candace. Now I just want to hang my head in shame for ever having said that to her. Shame
Aw.
on me, because obviously documentation is a good thing. However, I will also say she always wanted to like pose me. That was the thing I had a problem with. Take pictures all you want. Don't stop me and make me pose.
Whatever. You got to pose a little bit. You got to be flexible for your mate, dude. You got to do what your mate asks you to do. If they say smile in the picture, you got to smile. You're happy anyway.
At least she had you pose. At least she had you pose. My mom just likes to take incognito pictures of people or just shoot video.
Oh my
God.
People.
I told Candace to do that. I was like, these pictures are boring because you never take any interesting pictures. They're posed all the time. I mean.
Wow.
Yeah, like J-Matt said, his ESFJ friend took pictures even though people didn't know.
Those pictures are much more interesting. Why? Why didn't you appreciate it? You're being filmed all the time. Every time you go out into the public, you're being filmed constantly.
It's like a
See,
feeling
even
of
bullshit.
vulnerability. Like I feel vulnerable when people do that. I don't like the idea.
So do you go into stores?
Oh, okay. I work with an ISFJ, and I went out for my birthday, and I invited her along with me, and I said, like, her and I don't get along very often, but, like, when I say don't get along, that doesn't mean I'm still, like, we're on good friend terms, but she told me, like, I'll take a picture with you. Like, I was like, hey, will you take a picture with me? We're sitting at this bar. It's a really glamorous, like, beautiful place, and she looks so pretty, so I said, you look so pretty, and I was like, take a picture. She gives me the dirtiest look, and when we snapped the picture, and then I told my friend, I said, why did she do that? And they said, well, I'd do that too if you were just snapping pictures of me all night. And I said, well, everybody agreed, and they already knew what was up, so you signed up.
But see, here's the thing. I want you to be prepared to fight this fight when you encounter it again, okay? Because this is an important fight. Yes, you need to make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, like you're talking about. They agreed to it. I didn't force anybody to do anything. Blah, 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 blah. But as soon as you clarify that you are not technically wrong, that's all you have to be, is not technically wrong. That's good enough, okay? Once you do that, then you need to go on the attack, and you need to tell them how they are wrong for trying to prevent the increasing openification and transparification of information and the increasing number of pictures being taken of people. Then instead of saying, oh, I don't like it that you're taking pictures of me, you should say, thank you, because I haven't yet gotten the message that I need to document my own fucking life, and at least you're doing it. I'll appreciate it later. I'm sorry I'm so introverted private guy that I don't want it right now. My bad. Give her a little business card to hand back to you that says all that on it.
Yeah, like my sister's an ESFJ, and there's probably dozens of pictures from like each year of her life going up. But it's like for me, I think once I hit like maybe 10 or 11, I started becoming a lot more self-conscious. It's like I think there's a total of like 12 pictures for me between like the age of 10 and the age of like 19.
Wait, how old are you, Ken?
I'm 21.
You're 21?
Yeah.
You believe that, Eric or Bo?
I do. I believe it. How old are you?
Oh no. I shouldn't ask that question. I should not have brought that up.
That's not an answer.
That's fine. That's fine.
Listen, it's not like you're a vampire.
I don't
teacup.
actually care that much how old you are. I just thought, oh, I'm curious now. I don't think
Oh,
about
no.
people's ages until you bring out that thought. Oh, that is kind of interesting to think about people's ages a little bit, I guess. I try not to because it's not.
I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm afraid of ages.
Well, I just want you
no.
to know something. For a 143-year-old woman, you sound absolutely spectacular.
Oh my God! How did you know? Well, I'll tell you what. After carrying my nieces around all weekend, my hip is killing me. So
I
yeah,
bet.
almost getting there.
And it's plastic, so it's really remarkable that it's hurting. Anyway,
Oh my God! It's plastic. I need to stop
it's
making noise.
it's a that's not what this means. It's a hip replacement joke. That's what it is. Hip replacement joke. One always succeeds. One makes a lot of hip replacement jokes. I've discovered. You want to make your way into the world, lead with the hip replacement humor. JMAT does not appreciate the heresy. Well, I understand. You've never been a heretic lover. Nobody's ever called you heretic lover. Let's stop this video because of the length. It's a topic was about what again? Oh, is this the one about the let's talk about how watching yourself changes things or something?
Yeah, random,
Oh, yeah.
rando.
30 minutes of highfalutin action. Thanks for watching.